Welcome to the Youth Empowerment Radio Podcast, episode 13. This is our interview with Susie, Steve, and Wendy of the Colorado Department of Labor. This speaks to the different services and initiatives to help support young adults' healthy transitions into the workforce and how they adapt to the changing economic atmosphere.
The material and information presented here is provided by lived experience youth and is for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are of those of the guest only and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Youth Move.
Thank you guys for joining me today and taking time out of your day to be a part of this podcast. I really appreciate you guys. For starters, how about each of you introduce yourselves?
Good morning. I'm Susie Miller. I'm the director of the Colorado Rural Workforce Consortium.
Good morning. I'm Wendy Corley. I am the business engagement supervisor in employment and training.
And good morning. I'm Steve Wright, and I'm the governor's summer job hunt coordinator at the Department of Labor and Employment.
Could you elaborate on your primary role and responsibilities within the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment and what inspired you to pursue a career in this field?
Well, I can start as the director of the Colorado Rural Workforce Consortium, which is a branch of CDLE Employment and Training Division. My role, I really feel like, is about people and potential. We are one of 10 of the designated local workforce development areas as part of Colorado's broader public workforce system. So I really want to ensure that rural Coloradans, whether they're job seekers striving to build a better future or businesses that are really searching for the right talent, that they have access to the tools and to the resources they need to thrive. This role isn't just about workforce development. It's about empowering communities, creating hope, and driving transformation in places where opportunities might seem out of reach. I was inspired to pursue this path because I've seen firsthand the difference that we can make in people's lives. And whether it's a young adult setting out on their career pathway and finding their passion and their purpose, or a small business that's growing thanks to new talent, every story reminds me that this is why the work matters. I started my career living in a rural community along the Western Slope, and I discovered that workforce development offered me personally an opportunity to really utilize my creative skills to identify solutions for job seekers and employers to overcome unique challenges. I had the privilege of assisting in efforts to connect people to meaningful opportunities. I remember my first time helping an employer that needed to fill a position for their car wash. It was a small business. They owned a car wash and they needed somebody. And I took wrote down notes on a piece of paper, their job posting and what they were looking for. And I just remember the employer was amazed at the level of support that existed for a small business like them. And that they were so grateful that I was going to help them fill that opening. That experience really shaped my understanding of how impactful the workforce development can be, and it continues to drive my commitment to ensuring rural communities thrive.
I love that. Thank you, Susie.
So for me, to elaborate more on my background, I've been with CDLE for almost 2 decades. I actually started in the rural consortium on the Western Slope in Montrose. My first position with the state, I had never heard of a workforce center prior to moving to Colorado from Southern California. So it was like my first experience when I actually decided to stay a while. And here it is 20 years later. But I started working at the Governor's Summer Job Hunt program. And then from there into WI, which is now WIOA, and the youth programs, and then adult and dislocated workers. But I will say, as far as, my previous background was in the entertainment industry, and I've owned multiple businesses, but I've always had an empathetic point of view, always wanting to reach out and help. And so being in that rural community for 6 years and working with youth directly, it just really allowed me to really support some of the work that we're doing through grants, on the federal side, through training, and just helping young people find a place into the workforce. And then I subsequently came to the Denver metro area, working at CDLE since 2010, being a monitor, monitoring those programs. And then also as a grant coordinator. So I ran the hospitality career and secondary education grant, which is a grant that's in 48 high schools around the state of Colorado, including the rural areas. I've been running that grant since 2016, really focused on work-based learning, anything that's under the work-based learning umbrella, learning about work. It could be attending a job fair, job shadowing. And I will speak about our virtual job shadow, which is now called Pathful momentarily. Also, just in the space of, learning through work, and then learning at work. So, under that work-based learning continuum. So it's just really exciting where we're headed with that. That's a lot of the focus that we have in employment and training. I also have a work-based learning incentive grant, and that's focused working with industry. We do support a lot of the work, again, working with youth. And we have a lot of our partners that are around the state, including the rural area of Colorado Succeeds. And I would just say, just the fact that, for me personally, I love the work that I do. It truly aligns with who I am. And so having a long career, I didn't think 20 years ago I would still be here. But as I continue to grow and expand, and I'm surrounded by amazing people as a business engagement supervisor, which is a role that I've only had for a year, I really was passionate about being in the work. So that was like my sweet spot. I still get to be there. So, I just think it's an amazing opportunity, even for young people considering working in state government. The career pathway and trajectory is incredible. And so, yeah, so I'm just glad to be here and share my enthusiasm.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. That's amazing.
All right. And for me, my journey started all the way back in 2003. I had a friend that that worked at the Department of Local Affairs, a state agency, and they needed somebody to come in and support some of the grant work that was going on. And my background matched pretty well. So I jumped on board with our state's workforce board, the Colorado Workforce Development Council. And I spent several years working with them. My main role was to support a systems change grant that brought together all the different state agencies that worked towards improving outcomes for youth with disabilities in the workforce system. And right out of the gates, I got to support a team of leaders from many different state agencies and large nonprofits. And I saw the power of what could happen if we all worked together, if we shared our resources, if we shared our missions, and if we, as a group, attacked the different things that were out there, the problems that were, in the way of our systems working together smoothly and effectively and efficiently. So that was kind of the taste of what I did. So we had a 5-year grant, but the things happened at the federal level, so it got cut short. I think we ended up 4 years. But after that, there were opportunities to support other work of the Workforce Development Council. So I was able to get into supporting outreach and marketing services, but also youth services. And I've always kind of been passionate about youth services because, I was looking back to when I was as a teenager and high school and college, we didn't really have a whole lot of support mechanisms in place. We literally had these dumb terminals in our high school that we could log into and we could look at the different colleges that were around, but we didn't really get any support from our guidance counselors. And there was really nothing out there other than, parents and friends' parents and teachers to kind of direct you towards different careers were out there. So I saw the massive potential that our system has and that our partner systems have to help, support businesses and help support job seekers and especially youth and young adults. I feel like if you can get to somebody early enough and, get them to use their voice to talk about what kinds of things they're interested in, what kind of support they need, and let them try different things before they leave, the security of a high school environment or, of a home before they become adults. I just think that there's a lot better opportunity and a lot more chance for them to be successful in what they're working towards. So yeah, I've been really lucky. I've been able to focus my work pretty much in the youth spectrum the whole time that I've been with the state and with the Department of Labor and Employment. And with my current position, the governor's summer job hunt coordinator, I don't get to work directly with youth, but I get to help support all of our workforce centers around the state. The funding that we administer comes through the federal government, then it passes through the governor's office, and then we support our local workforce centers with funds that pay to put staff in place that'll help anybody that comes through the door So for my program, that would be youth 14 to 24. So, pretty much it's really refreshing to know that we have these services out there. And when we get to see the results of what even little small investments can make to get somebody on a trajectory and a career path into something that they truly enjoy, and they can, make a living wage and support, themselves and potentially a family. It's just feels really good to help support something like that.
Yeah. Wow. You guys are amazing people. In your point of view, what constitutes a healthy labor market?
So, from my perspective, a healthy labor market is really one where opportunity and dignity intersect, and where businesses they find the workers they need, but also individuals find not just a job, but they find pathways to fulfilling careers. In rural Colorado, this balance often requires innovative solutions, and that's where I believe the Colorado Rural Workforce Consortium shines. Healthy rural labor market includes access to good jobs and that offer livable wages, benefits, opportunities for advancement, also along with a skilled workforce ready to meet the needs of the local industries. It requires community support through transportation, childcare, and affordable housing, ensuring that those individuals can participate in fully in the workforce. It's also important to offer exposure of all kinds of in-demand work and help individuals access the right type of training and upskilling resources that align with the needs of the businesses now into the future. I really think that as we prepare individuals, we need to be thinking about that mindset of lifelong learning and lifelong upskilling, that you're not going to just get one certification or degree and you're going to be set for the remainder of your career. You're going to continue to need to evolve to meet those needs. In the consortium, we collaborate with employers, schools, and economic developers to build a diverse and inclusive workforce ecosystem that is resilient and sustainable. By promoting equity and inclusion, we work to ensure that those opportunities are accessible for everyone. And we really look to address systemic barriers and provide pathways for underrepresented groups. Through these efforts, we can create a labor market where both businesses and workers can really thrive.
That's essential. It's so important to kind of meet the needs of the individual and not group people together as like a category and kind of get to know people and understand, okay, this is what you like, this is where you align with. Let's train you and let's help you get to where you want to go because you're skilled in these certain aspects. That's so important.
Yeah, we really take that human centered approach to serving our customers and really addressing their unique gifts, talents, and challenges.
I love that. So, what specific programs or initiatives does the CDLE have in place to provide training and workforce entry support for youth experiencing homelessness?
Just checking to make sure, Steve and Wendy, are you okay with me answering these questions first? And okay. For youth experiencing homelessness, our work goes beyond just really connecting them with jobs. We want to be really holistic in providing wraparound supports and creating stability and restoring hope through programs like our Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We call it WIOA or WIOA for short. Our WIOA youth program, we offer training and job placements, but we go far beyond that. So we provide wraparound services such as housing, referrals, transportation assistance, and mentorship. These youth face unimaginable barriers. So we feel like by walking alongside them and addressing their immediate needs, we can help them build a foundation for lasting success. We also prioritize innovative and accessible opportunities to support these young individuals, such as work-based learning experiences. That allows them to gain those practical skills and exposure to in-demand industries while they're earning a wage. So that earn and learn model is critical. Yeah, right. And career coaches are embedded in our communities all across the 51 counties that we serve across Colorado. And they're meeting youth where they are. So it's not just you come find us, but we're going to go find you. We're going to meet you at the libraries, community colleges, or other community hubs to provide really personalized guidance and support. Additionally, virtual career coaching services ensure that youth in even the most remote or challenging circumstances have access to services and to professional advice and resources to chart that path forward. We're going to walk alongside them for sure, but integrating these initiatives with traditional support services, we really do aim to empower youth experiencing homelessness with the tools they need to overcome challenges and achieve long-term success.
And I wanted to add to what Susie said when it comes to some of the resources we provide. I think that, because we do have a program, federal programs such as WIOA. On my side of the house, we do focus on a lot with state funded programs. So there's a little bit of ambiguity and looseness, such as with the hospitality grant and the work-based learning incentive grant. But I have a project called Pathful.com. It's with one of our vendors that we work with. And I'm really passionate about this product because it does really support individuals who are mobile or not, they're more transient, or they just don't, they could be, out in the world anywhere. But I think just about everyone has a smartphone. So we have a resource, which is it's called Pathful.com. And it's a comprehensive platform designed to support individuals on their career pathway, whether they're preparing to go to post-secondary school, they're going to the workforce, and they're looking to get more independent, autonomous career readiness. And so anyone in the state of Colorado can create a free single sign-on account on our website at connectingcolorado.com. It can, again, do career exploration because it has an interactive career experience. There's also a focus on work-based learning. So the platform integrates work-based learning opportunities such as virtual job shadow. There's over thousands of career videos, and it takes you a day in the life of a career professional. We've done a lot of content for the state of Colorado. So we have a lot of apprenticeable occupations. We have internships and also actual job opportunities. And so the work-based learning component is amazing. They can do coursework. Either they could be on this platform independently, or they can be working with, say, for instance, someone in the workforce center supporting this activity. There's lots of like virtual outreach content on there. And I think this platform is like ideal for someone who is in that in-between space and is just trying to figure it out, and they can do all the exploring they want to. Again, it is a free resource that we offer at CDLE through Connecting Colorado. And actually also there's another on our career help page for colorado.gov/CDLE, a career help. They can click on the Pathful banner and create their own single sign-on account. And I think that's a great, giving something that they can use as a tool for multiple means when they're in that ambiguous space. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. So now that we're kind of on the digital part, real quick, I figured I'd ask since we're there, what other virtual services does CDL offer to ensure all Coloradans can access employment services remotely?
Thank you for bringing that question. The journey really just starts by reaching out, and that can be online through one of our specific virtual career coaches or by stepping into one of our workforce centers. But from the moment someone begins engaging with us, they're greeted with a sense of belonging and possibility. Our process begins with an intake session. So really, there's going to be a staff person that listens to their stories, learns about their challenges and goals, and then helps identify their unique needs. We're also going to conduct a personalized assessment, understand their skills, their interests, their barriers. We're going to take into account their employment history or their work history. We're going to look at those transferable skills and then determine any immediate support they might need, such as transportation, housing, childcare. based on that assessment, we're going to create an individualized plan that's going to be tailored to their goals, which might involve enrolling them in skills workshops, connecting them to work-based learning opportunities, or pairing them with a mentor and coach or a career coach. The immediate support. So all of those services really can be accessed virtually. But for immediate support, we offer services such as workshops on career readiness. So think about just even how to prepare for an interview as an example, resume building, and then those workshops equip job seekers with the tools and the confidence they need to stand out to employers. So they might just need some of that basic career readiness support, but we can dive deeper into one-on-one assistance through mock interviews, helping them really gain valuable practice and feedback to refine their presentation skills. And then if there's intensive services that are needed, like specialized training, certification programs, or work-based learning opportunities. Now, there's eligibility for some of those programs, but it's determined through that assessment process. And we're going to be able to connect them to the resources they need. And from the Colorado Rural Workforce Consortium's perspective, nearly all, if not all, are really available through a virtual service delivery model, but also hybrid or also in person. We really strive to really meet customers where they're at. And we don't just stop at that job placement. Once we help individuals find placement, there's a lot of supports that we can help with along the way. We regularly follow up with them to provide that continued support. So whether it's helping someone navigate their first few weeks in a new role, connecting them to advancement opportunities, or addressing challenges along the way, every step is designed to empower them, to build their confidence, and to ensure that they're on a path to lasting success. We don't want to just say, all right, we helped you get that job. We're going to be there along the way. And we want to be kind of really remembered as the place that you turn to when you're needing those additional supports, upskilling, or resources for advancement.
Yeah, that is so important. Wow. Did you have something to add, Steve?
On one of the prior questions I did, but I can kind of go through it here. So yeah, so as Susie mentioned, there's lots of resources available both in person and virtually online through our workforce centers. There's cases where people may not have equipment at home, so we can support them either in person through most of our workforce centers have resource rooms and computer rooms where people can come and they can, do online learning or they can do resume work. As Susie mentioned, that we have resources in place to help people develop resumes and develop, job search tactics and career research tactics, and using Pathful as a resource, as Wendy explained, where people can go in and research all these different careers and jobs within those careers. But yeah, so we have the workforce system has been a best kept secret for a long time. We're always actively trying to change that perception. One of the hardest things, though, can be finding and getting to some of the people that are a little harder to reach. And the homeless youth population, especially in rural Colorado, is one of those. So we're always trying to do a better job at the state coordinating. I mean, that's how we ended up. I have worked with Kippy off and on for many years and found out about this project, and we were able to meet, and I was able to get her connected with Susie. So, one of the things I've been working on for many years is, broadening the scope of the work that we do and connecting the work that we do in the workforce system with other systems that work with youth and young adults and just job seekers in general. Is when you think about it, most of our agencies at the state and then in the county, we're all there for a reason. And typically each agency has kind of three main goals. The very first goal is assisting with whatever that main barrier may be, whether it's a disability, whether it's homelessness, whether it's a young adult that's in the foster care system trying to, finish school and move on to, next steps and independence, transitioning to adulthood. And the third thing that so the things that we work on are helping with that first barrier. The second things are always around education and training. And the third things that we all kind of focus on are employment. And that's where I see, the real opportunity to connect all of the work that we all do together. So that's, one of the reasons we're here with you today, trying to make sure that we're well connected with the people out there doing good work with different populations and people in different parts of the state, people experiencing, different issues as far as getting connected to the services they need and ultimately to independence and self-support. So,
Thank you, Steve. I think it's really important to have that network of support systems that all work together, like you were saying, because how can we support someone when they're not offered all of the opportunities or services that are actually available out there when and then they have the choice to move forward with what is offered.
Access really shouldn't be a privilege, right? It should be something that we're striving to ensure all of our Coloradans know, regardless of how remote or their circumstances, that they do have that access. So we've really embraced that digital shift. So whether it's we have virtual career fairs and webinars, and obviously we've talked about the remote counseling sessions, but our online platforms are really designed to be accessible for all. And to further bridge the digital divide in rural Colorado, we've introduced digital navigators, and they're specialized staff that assist individuals accessing and using technology effectively. So it might not even pertain, it certainly could, but it may not even pertain to employment. They might just need that one on one support to help them gain the confidence and skills they need to navigate online resources, but apply for jobs or participate in virtual training. It could even be as simple as setting up an email account, troubleshooting their connectivity issues, or learning to use job search platforms. The digital navigators are working to ensure that no one is left behind in the digital landscape.
Thank you, Susie. So, regarding youth programming, particularly in the rural workforce development, what initiatives does CDLE have to support young individuals in these areas? How do they differ from programs aimed at urban youth versus rural youth?
Well, from the Colorado Rural Workforce Consortium perspective, rural youth are really brimming with opportunity and potential, but they face really specific challenges like limited transportation or access to employers. When we step in with tailored programs that leverage strengths of their communities, such as apprenticeships in traditional occupations such as electrician, but also less traditional like arborists or medical assistants. Those are a couple of apprenticeships that just come to mind. These programs connect young people to their local economies. We're always trying to keep them within their communities, and I think that's important, is that we're connecting them to those opportunities. And we really want to ignite the pride in where they come from while building skills for the future. Unlike urban programs, which may have more direct access to more resources, our initiatives often incorporate virtual learning and mentorship to kind of bridge that gap. We're also working with employers in these rural communities to provide other earn and learn opportunities for youth in industries. Some that come to mind: automotive, childcare, education, human services, manufacturing, retail, and tourism. We are connected with employers in these industries, and we're able to really work with providing that pipeline to connect the youth to those opportunities. And oftentimes it is an earn and learn model, but even career exposure is career pathway exposure is really vital in these communities.
so I can add that in Colorado, and Susie knows this, each of our local workforce areas has a workforce board in place that is constituted by a majority of businesses, and then it's accented by the different community resources that are in place. So the workforce system, higher education, community college system, vocational rehabilitation, and different agencies that work with the customers we work for, and they have the flexibility to work within the industries and the confines of what's important in those local communities. So when you're on the western slope of Colorado, there's going to be certain things that may bubble up that aren't in other parts of the state. When you're down in Durango, we know there's a lot of focus on tourism and on small business and on all the different, things that need to be in place in Durango. And then when you get into the San Luis Valley, We know that agriculture is very important. We know that education is very important. We know that solar is very important. We know that there's lots of different things in each community, and our system has the ability to kind of build on their strengths in each of those local areas. One of the local areas, I think it was in Montrose, they were working on a little homes project because there were needs for housing, and they put together an apprenticeship program to build those tiny homes. And it helped provide jobs for people that were interested in construction and trades, and it helped provide housing for people that didn't have any or didn't have any that was affordable. So we have a lot of flexibility in our system called a local control state. So the two things are happening right now. We're transforming our customer service platforms to be in a little more alignment as far as being consistent with the opportunities that we offer, the services that we offer, how everything looks and feels, down to we're going to focus on every workforce center is going to offer these 10 key workshops for any job seeker. But then we'll also have the flexibility for certain local areas to maybe provide some other things, like in Eastern Colorado. There might be a little bit of a slant towards a particular type of manufacturing or agriculture. So, and in, Jefferson County, it could be manufacturing and aerospace. So we have the flexibility in our system to dive into those different areas that are key to those different areas, so that they're well supported and there's a pipeline and there's knowledge about what's going on in those areas. And our local chambers and our local workforce boards and our local education systems are key to holding that up.
And I wanted to encourage Steve to share a little bit about one of our youth programs, the Governor's Summer Job Hunt. And he did mention some of the work that we're doing with work-based learning incentive grant with some of our partners around the state, focused in the rural area. And I think one of the things that I have found when I was working in the rural consortium is that there was a different level of engagement, community engagement that you see where you could walk into an office or a chamber and you're able to develop those partnerships. And so that community engagement piece in the rural area is very strong and highly encouraged. Whereas, maybe in the metro area is more formally designed. But Steve, do you mind sharing a little bit about the Governor's Summer Job Hunt?
Sure. Yeah. So through the Governor Summer Job Hunt program, that's kind of the gateway for any and all youth to engage in work-based learning and workforce preparation and ultimately in training and employment. So each of our workforce centers offers this program. It's open to any and all youth, 14 to 24. And it's a really good way where we can identify maybe if there are customers that might have more needs. And that's the WIOA program that Susie and Wendy both mentioned. So the Summer Job Hunt program has very little in the way of eligibility requirements. Basically, show up, sign up, attend. Our local workforce areas work really closely with our school districts to offer workshops. Everything from, learning about how to search for work, learning how to do a resume, learning about practicing mock interviewing, learning maybe salary negotiation skills, workshops on maybe navigating difficult situations in the workplace. Maybe you don't get along with an employer. These are all typical workshops that most of our workforce centers around the state offer. And then through the Summer Job Hunt program, a lot of career exposure and career development activities happen. Some of our local areas offer industry tours. Some of them will bring employers into schools or into community settings and put together panels. Especially there's certain times of the year where we have different themes. In the springtime, for instance, like right now is a really good time to get engaged with your local workforce center, because right now they're all preparing their local communities for their big job fairs that they do in the spring. These are typically in-person events, occasionally can be virtual, electronic, but this is the time of year where our local workforce centers are working with their schools and working with their community partners to put together the different workshops and the different preparatory things so that kids can apply for work later this spring and summer. A lot of the summer hiring for employers starts anywhere between the end of February and kind of the middle of April. That's when a lot of employers are gearing up for their summer employment needs. And as Wendy mentioned, we have other services and programs that are out there. I'm working on the same grant that Wendy is working on, the Work-Based Learning Incentive Program. She's working on it with larger employers that are kind of network employers over certain industries. And the half of it I'm working on is for the individual employers. So we've got everything from, we have some arborists that are working with us. We have a dog care place that's working with us, like dog grooming and dog care. We have high tech and STEM employers working with us. And these are smaller seed grants that are in place to help some of the employers learn about and get used to supporting work-based learning in their businesses. These are typically small businesses that don't have a lot of budget for things like that. And the state legislature provided us with funding to support those kinds of activities. So yeah, our programs, really our two main customers are businesses and job seekers. And we have very dedicated, knowledgeable, longstanding teams that support both of those customer bases. And it's just great to be a part of it and seeing the whole thing from the state level, but also jumping in when we can at the local level to help support some of these things. Did I miss anything?
Thanks, Steve. That was awesome.
Yeah, it is amazing to hear from your guys' perspective on just all of these different programs that are being implemented and how you're meeting youth and how you're engaging in such different ways and different capacities. Like that is crucial and vital to like our society because if if we're not meeting the youth where they're at and with like opportunities to like shine and even just try, then they're never going to know what they're capable of unless they have the opportunities shown to them. Looking ahead, what do y'all envision for the future of CDLE's work, especially in terms of innovation and responding to emerging trends in the labor market?
Well, the future is about ensuring our workforce is prepared no matter what the future looks like. So, regardless of what that future looks like, we should be prepared and we should help them to be prepared. So, for the Rural Consortium, that means harnessing technology to bridge gaps in access, opportunity, and really in those particularly rural areas. Expanding virtual services such as career coaching, digital navigators, and online training platforms will remain a cornerstone of our efforts, ensuring that every Coloradan can connect to resources no matter where they live. We're also investing in innovation like augmented and virtual reality training, which can provide an immersive hands on learning experience in a variety of in demand industries such as healthcare, construction, and advanced manufacturing. Building partnerships in emerging industries like renewable energy, advanced technologies, and broadband expansion will be pivotal. These sectors are expected to drive job growth, and we want rural communities to be at the forefront of this transformation. Programs focusing on green energy apprenticeships, solar and wind technician training, upskilling existing workers for energy efficient construction will play a significant role in preparing the workforce for these opportunities. Additionally, we're focused on developing talent pipelines that align with the future of work. This means integrating work based learning into more industries, fostering stronger collaborations between schools, businesses, and community partners to create really seamless pathways to education, from education to employment. Upskilling initiatives for mid career workers will also be prioritized to ensure that they can adapt to shifts in technology and industry demand. So you might already be in the workforce, but how do you ensure that we continue to meet those needs going into the future? And to stay ahead of trends, we'll continue to leverage labor market information, predictive analytics to identify and respond to those workforce needs really proactively. We want to be proactive in this, and we want to take a really proactive role rather than just being reactive to what's in front of us. And this is going to help us craft a more targeted programs, ensuring that we're allocating resources where they're really needed and that they're going to be really effective. At the same time, we remain committed to fostering equity and inclusion, ensuring that those underrepresented populations have access to training, technology, and opportunities. Yeah, ultimately, the future of the consortium's work will balance innovation with our mission to empower people, to strengthen communities, and create resilient, adaptable workforce that thrives in an ever-changing economy.
Wow. Speechless. So, how rephrase workforce centers play such crucial role in job seeking. Could you share more about the services they offer and how our listeners can effectively utilize the workforce centers during their job search?
So really, our workforce centers are just one of the ways individuals and businesses can access all of our services. So our physical centers, the Role Consortium has nearly 25 physical centers that provide free services, including those job postings, career counseling, resume assistance, skills workshops, just like we offer at the other community partner sites as well as virtually. So we have their physical sites, but we're on community college campuses. We're, we're even we're going to be in food banks and we're going to be at libraries. We're going to be all over. So really, if you think about the workforce center as less of a physical space, but more as this entity that's wrapping its arms around communities is really maybe a better way to look at that. Really, the best way though is to engage with workforce center staff very early in their search because the sooner they connect with this, the sooner we're going to be able to connect them with all the resources and opportunities out there. And really, our professionals are really helping to tailor those job search strategies, making their searches more efficient, identify relevant opportunities, and connect individuals to training programs so that we're putting them on pathways and we're not just helping them find a job. So, from that perspective, I believe that job seekers can gain the tools and guidance needed to confidently navigate their career journey.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the services, and for many years now, we've been working out of the mindset of human-centered design and trying to put the customer at the forefront of everything that we do. Because I mean, we're there to help meet the customer's needs, whether it's a business or a job seeker. So we've been working in this world for many years now. We started working on this prior to COVID. Some of our partner agencies were working in that space, and then some of our local workforce centers, Arapahoe Douglas Works was working in that space. And we did system-wide training to get people more up to speed with looking at things from that perspective so that we're more responsive to the needs of our customers. And we're really putting their needs and desires instead of walking up to them and saying, hey, we are going to plug you into this training program and you're going to go on this career path because this is where the data says you need to go. There is human choice involved in all these things. So it's been nice being a part of that. We also do it at the state level when we work with our local partners. So like for me, my primary customer is a local workforce center. So we try to make sure we put their needs at the forefront because they're directly serving the customer. So, we have to work in tandem that way to make sure that the resources we provide are meeting the needs of the customers when there's, a layer between us and the customer. So that's one of the things we try to keep in mind.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. You gotta make sure that you're creating that bridge that they can easily walk across.
Another important part of human-centered design, though, is also youth voice. Even from a federal level, they've been preaching this for the last couple of years, just having more youth voice in what we do. A lot of our partners are in the same boat. The Department of Human Services we work very closely with. They have a statewide youth development plan, and it's based on input from customers. And the plans we work on have a lot of customer voice and input. Our local workforce centers and local workforce areas, they're constantly gaining input from their customers and from their partners on how we can better serve them, better provide, meet needs, provide resources and things like that. So, we're still a best kept secret, but I feel like we're constantly trying to make some progress. And a lot of that is through the networking, through partnership development, through partnerships with employers and helping bridge the gap between employers and schools, trying to get, employer voice and employer perceptions into the school system so that, when kids are going to school and guidance counselors and career and tech ed programs are all providing, everybody's kind of communicating in the same way. And, people are aware of what those real opportunities are.
From a public workforce perspective, how does CDLE address the diverse needs of Colorado's labor force? And what strategies are employed to adapt to changing economic conditions?
One of the most effective tools I believe that the Role Consortium employs is sector partnerships, which they really bring together businesses, education providers, economic development organizations, and community partners to align goals and address workforce needs. So this collective really comes together for a shared mission or working together to solve a shared issue. And these partnerships really create a collaborative space where the stakeholders can identify those industry needs and the trends and share resources and really develop those tailored solutions. For example, we have sector partnerships in healthcare, manufacturing, and broadband that ensure that the training programs are aligned with employer needs. And then we're able to connect workers to those high demand jobs as a result. And by fostering these collaborations, consortium not only addresses current labor market challenges, but also builds a workforce system that is designed to be resilient and responsive to future economic shifts. And it ensures that Colorado's labor force remains competitive, adaptable, and empowered to thrive in a dynamic economy.
Thank you, Susie. Could one of you explain Pathful and how it integrates into CDLE's mission to support job seekers and employers?
Go, Wendy.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. One of the things I would say that why we incorporated Pathful into our programming and providing a resource, it is because we're trying to really reach all Coloradans who are on a career pathway. We're in the process of redesigning and redeveloping to move into the realm of skills-based hiring. And I think with Pathful, it gives an opportunity for individuals to explore and learn a day in the life of someone and to look at, what transferable skills do I have that I may not have the education, but I have those transferable skills. So they're able to easily identify that by watching these videos, doing the Q&As, using the journaling that's available through Pathful, and then also being able to create a resume, do a job search, which is very much in alignment with what we do. As Steve mentioned earlier, we are focused on providing elevated business services as well as focusing on supporting and leveraging, I would say, leveling the playing field for those who are seeking employment, training, etc. And so pathful.com lends to that by creating a little bit more autonomy in that career pathway exploration. And so we have about 15 to 18,000 users on the platform. We've been using this resource again since 2016. We've used it with programs with also Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. There are super users because we have transition students that might be in the School to Work Alliance program. So they are really heavy users of this platform. Also, youth in corrections, they also use Pathful as well. And so we just find that it just allows individuals who may not have access to actual, perhaps a job shadow or a work experience or, anything of that level, that they're actually able to see it in action. These are highly designed and developed and produced career pathway videos. And so we just feel like it's a great way for someone who has limited access, especially for someone who's living in the rural parts of Colorado, or they might be more marginalized or disenfranchised for whatever reason. They have that connection using Pathful as a resource.
Wow, I love that. That is truly amazing.
Yeah.
Are there any programs that we've missed throughout this or new ones that might be starting in the near future?
The Rural Consortium has kind of three that I thought would be important to discuss. And while we have an abundance of grants and programs, we really try to make sure that the customer doesn't have to feel like they have to navigate those. It's our job to do that on the back end. We're just promoting those opportunities. But a couple of things of interest that we're really working with specialized populations include our PROUD grant. We love our acronyms in workforce development. So the Partners for Reentry Opportunities and Workforce Development, if you pull those out, stands for PROUD. Program is a collaborative initiative that supports federally incarcerated individuals that are transitioning to community reentry. We're providing job training, skills development, and aligned to meet the local labor market needs. The program improves employment prospects for returning citizens while enhancing public safety. Proud features a 3-stage model offering consistent case management and supportive services from pre-release to post-release, ensuring participants can successfully reintegrate into their communities. And it really provides a lot of creative opportunities for supporting individuals in terms of wraparound supports, things you might not traditionally think of as being able to support. And so that's really important. Another one we have is the PACE program, and yet another acronym for paving access to careers and employment. And this really focuses on increasing engagement among the supplemental nutrition and assistance recipients. So they call it SNAP, or those public assistance recipients receiving food assistance benefits by providing supportive services to help them access employment and training opportunities, including employment first programs throughout the state, but also other workforce development programs like connecting them to the WIOA programs. Through partnerships with workforce development systems, this helps individuals overcome barriers to employment and achieve long-term self-sufficiency, particularly for those hardest to serve. One final one that I'll just briefly mention is Technology Employment in Colorado program, sometimes referred to as TECP. And this grant will help expand infrastructure training with a focus on adding advanced technology career opportunities in rural communities. So it's a partnership we have with City and County of Denver, but that's up and coming. It's not here quite yet, but the future is bright as it relates to opportunities in rural Colorado.
Yay! Wow, that is so great to hear.
One thing that I would add as well is there's been a huge investment over the last, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 years in registered apprenticeship in Colorado. We have our own apprenticeship office. It's called the Office of the Future of Work. That's within the Department of Labor and Employment. And they have quite a lot of resources and a lot of staff and a lot of programs that are happening. We know that many people are not on track to go on to higher ed or the more formal school-based learning. And the apprenticeship programs that have been referenced several different times seem to be a great, interesting way for people to get connected to the labor market and to really well-paying jobs. I mean, during COVID, you can get a plumber or an electrician without, waiting for 3 to 4 weeks. And it's much broader than that, as Susie mentioned earlier. It's in lots of different industries and career pathways. It's accounting, IT, cyber, all these different areas, anything healthcare, medical. There's registered apprenticeship programs that support all those. There's even a peer mental health counselor related apprenticeship that was created between the Department of Labor and behavioral health. So people are able to be peer specialists with their, lived experience. And I thought that was a fantastic use of that type of support. So, but we know that a lot of people aren't destined or have time. I mean, people need to make money now. You have to put a roof over your head. You might have a child to feed. So even if you're, a younger youth. So we know that these opportunities are equally important in Colorado. So a lot of resources and a lot of grants have been pulled in to support that work, to build it up, to build the infrastructure, to take some of the weight. It's a lot of weight for an employer to get into an apprenticeship program. So we have a lot of resources to help ease some of the pain that they might experience, because there's a lot of documentation and a lot of data they have to capture and maintain. So the state has been doing a lot in that realm for like the last 10 years or so. So it's a fantastic area to look into. Our local workforce center staff can connect you with whatever is happening in your local area. And if it's not in your local area, they can try to connect you with whatever it is that's happening somewhere else in the state.
That is great info, especially the last part for me personally, because it's like, if what you're looking for isn't quite in your location, then you can also still go to the workforce center and they will connect you with the right resources and the right programs that fit your needs and wants.
Yeah, there may be a virtual aspect to the learning that happens with that. So And that's Susie had mentioned, and I think Wendy had mentioned the virtual reality learning. We're getting into that world as well. So that's a way to get hands-on off-site. So
That's incredible. Wow. Well, is there any further comments or the questions or things that you would like to mention?
I mean, just general advice for youth and young adults. Maybe you're disconnected. Maybe you need to be connected. It takes a lot of bravery and a lot of opening yourself up. Put yourself first, love yourself, and get what you need. Communicate what you need, regardless of what it is. Our workforce center staff may not be able to help you with that particular thing, but they probably know somebody who can. One of the biggest things that you can build for yourself is your personal network. So be a good friend and also lean on your friends when you need to, and your family and your cousins. And, just, yeah, your network is the biggest thing in your corner in your life. And if you don't have a good one in place, get some assistance building it. It's going to go a long way for you.
I love that, Steve. Awesome.
Yeah, and I guess with that, I just want to thank you all for joining me today, spending the time to talk about what you do and what it means to you and how you guys are impacting the communities that you're all a part of. And I just really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for helping us spread the word about the workforce system.
Yeah.